to IIBA Nova Scotia chapter. Make welcome Maria Becerra for she'll be facilitating the conversation today around navigating the AI revolution as a business analyst. A little about Maria. Maria is a dynamic and result-driven consultant with over 7 years of experience. She specializes in product delivery and business growth. Maria recently completed her Master's of Management in Artificial Intelligence from the Queen's University. This is also complementing her Business Analysis graduate certificate from Mohawk College and the Bachelor's of Industrial Engineering. Wow. She works as a consultant in the digitization and automation team at TD Bank. Maria has delivered numerous products that has yielded substantial capacity savings. In addition to her corporate role, she also works as a professor at Mohawk College. Oh my goodness. And when she's not at work, she's volunteering at the IIBA. She's the regional director of the LATAM chapter. She's also the ambassador for Global Women's Tech Makers Program. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to make welcome today, Maria Becerra. Hi, Maria. You're welcome again. Kindly,
so
I'll stop sharing here and you can take it away.
I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And please, Olga, let me know if you can see how are you feeling today's slide and you're looking at my presentation.
Yes.
All good? Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining today's presentation. Thank you for making time for yourself to learn a little bit more about AI. But before we start, I would like to ask you 2 quick favors. First, let me launch a quick poll because I would like to know how you are feeling today. I would like to know how's your day going on, how's everything. Let me check here, polls, launch. There you go. Okay, please choose your answer. And while we are doing this, I would like you to please also send or share your LinkedIn profile on the chat. Don't feel like you have to, but I highly encourage you to do it because this webinar, these monthly sessions that all the chapters do around the world are a great opportunity for you as current business analysts or future business analysts to start networking and getting to know like-minded people who can help you grow in your careers. So I'll give you 1 minute to start sharing your LinkedIn profiles. I'll let you know later on why I asked you that. But for now, I'm more interested to know how you're feeling today. So I see a lot of number 5 here. So, okay, that's positive. Number 5 and number 6, that's good. I see also some number 1 and number 2. Okay, maybe after this presentation, you'll feel like number 5, hopefully. We'll see. Okay, 1 more minute before we get started. Okay, we got a 72% participation. I think that's good. I'm just gonna end the poll with happy results, just seeing that people are feeling in a great mood. Perfect. All right, but now that we are going to get started, I would like to share a little bit about me. And thank you, Olga, for walking everyone through a little bit about my background. I don't think you mentioned it, but I'm Colombian. I'm originally from there, and that's why you will see me in most of my calls with a cup of coffee. I've been living here in Canada for the past 4 years. I'm an engineer by training, but as I usually say, I'm a business analyst by heart. I got my certificate from Mohawk College in 2019. And then I got my CBAP in 2020 or 2021, I can't remember now. And most recently, I've been studying about AI, and I just finished my Master of Management in this field. I have over 7 years of experience in multiple industries, oil and gas, pharmaceutical, etc. And I'm most recently working as a consultant for TD Bank, as Olga mentioned. When I'm not at work, I'm advocating for women and girls in the tech space, and that's why I'm a Women Tech Makers Ambassador. This is a Google program that supports people to do this work. I'm founding president of the IIBA Hamilton chapter, and I'm very happy to see the new president here in the call. Hi, Pablo. He's doing a great job now with the chapter, and I'm very happy that it's in good hands. And as Oge mentioned, I'm now the regional director of IIBA Latin America, helping our chapters in the Latin America region grow. But as you can see here in this little section, there's a lot about me, but two things that I want to highlight is my passion for business analysis, but also my passion for technology, and more specifically for AI. So that's why I decided to talk today about how to navigate the AI revolution as business analysts. And to be honest, AI is not a revolution. Like, it's not, the real revolution is not about AI. AI has existed for more than 50 years. As one of the great leaders in the field say, the revolution is about the user experience and how we are interacting with these models. So yes, from about 50 years ago, everything about AI, how we build models, got started. However, that was only for people who knew about the topic, people who knew how to build the models and write the code. Now, the real revolution is how we use these tools that are available to us now to improve our productivity or to enable the change in our organizations. But everyone has a different definition about AI. And some people refer to AI to ChatGPT or to Terminator or to different things. So to get started, I would like us to all come to the same page and have a clear definition of what is AI, what is artificial intelligence. And as obvious as it might sound, I would like to start by saying that AI, as any other science, it's a field of study. And this is defined by IBM. It's a field, so it's not like a human, it's not a person, it's not something that thinks. Artificial intelligence is a field of study. More precisely, is the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. However, I don't like this definition because when we say intelligent machines, we would have to go through another layer of defining what is intelligent. Is something intelligent if it passes a test? Is something intelligent if it makes a good decision? What is intelligence for you might be different for me. So there is another layer of philosophy, psychology, and sociology that should go integrated. I just brought up this definition because it was provided by John McCarthy, who is one of the person who started in the artificial intelligence field. But one definition that I like better is AI related to prediction. So AI is all about prediction, machines learning what to do for us and to us. And as I said, I don't really like to give human verbs or feelings to machines. So I would like to change that learning part to predicting. So we can summarize artificial intelligence by saying that is the ability of a machine to predict what to do for us and to us. But when people think about AI, I've heard that they think of people working behind their computers, building the models, testing the models, deploying, and that's not completely true. If we think about AI, there is a huge spectrum, like in any other field. We have technical experience, but we also have the business experience. So yes, we do have developers. We have people who are working behind the scenes, building the models, getting the data, cleaning the data. But we also have the other side. We have the user side, where we have the business domain, people who are expressing what are their needs, people who would be interacting with these tools. And here you might be thinking already, what am I going to? And it's that we need a person who is able to connect the dots, a person who is able to speak both languages and that can translate those technical components into business components or vice versa. And that's where the role of the business analyst come into place. And for those of you who might not be familiar with business analysis or what a business analyst does, we need to ensure that everyone is on the same page before continuing. So that's why I wanted to highlight that according to the business analysis body of knowledge, so our BABOK, business analysis is defined as the practice of enabling change in an enterprise. We do that by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. And please note that here we are not calling out a specific industry, we're not calling out a specific role or title. We are just saying that it's the practice of enabling change. So regardless of the company you are working at or the role that you have or the title, as long as you are enabling change, you are practicing business analysis. And now, more precisely, a business analyst would be the person who is performing business analysis tasks described in the BABOK. Again, no matter the job title or the organizational role. Some of these tasks entail understanding the problems and goals of the enterprise, analyzing the needs and solutions, devising strategies, driving change, facilitating collaboration. And as I said, it doesn't matter what role or company. So again, it doesn't matter what field you would be working on. If you are working in AI or in any other technology, as long as you're enabling change, you are a business analyst. So now having those two concepts clear, we can say that yes, AI has altered the way that all businesses are operating and making decisions, but we are also change agents that can support that transformation. And now the question is, how can we transform that change? How can we transform those initiatives and enable that change that I'm talking about? So here we can think of our relation as business analysts with AI from two perspectives. First, as AI facilitators. So I said we are enabling change. So how can we as business analysts be the liaison between the technical part and the business part to bring together those initiatives? And the second part is, as AI users, how can we use those tools as well to boost our productivity? So the next part of this presentation is going to be focused on these two topics. But first, we're going to start looking AI and business analysts from the lens of AI facilitator. Okay, but here I would like you to think, if you're working in a project, say, for example, of Salesforce, the more you know about Salesforce, the better your outcome will be. Maybe you don't know about Salesforce and still you can deliver a good project, but the more you know about this tool, you will feel more comfortable asking questions. You will have more insights on what the processes are about. So same happened with AI. The more you know about artificial intelligence, the more comfortable you will feel about making decisions, providing recommendations. So I'm going to provide a few concepts that can help you in your journey in this field. And maybe you might not be affected by AI right now, but soon enough, all companies will be impacted by AI or will start working in this field. So we already defined what is AI. Now let's talk about what are the AI stages. And here we can categorize it in two main stages. The first one is weak narrow or artificial narrow intelligence. This term refers to systems that are designed to perform specific tasks. They operate under a limited context and cannot perform other tasks outside their field. Think, for example, of Siri or Google Maps or Google Translate. These are systems that are designed to perform one task, to predict what is your next destination or the best route, what is the next likely word that you are expecting based on your question. ChatGPT, it's a narrow AI, for example. Now, on the other hand, we have the artificial general intelligence, AGI for short, or strong general AI. These are AI systems that perform any intellectual task that a human being can do. However, this doesn't exist, and I dare to say that it's not going to exist for the time we're alive. And this, again, only exists in theory and research, but not in practical applications. So those are two main concepts that we need to clarify. So ChatGPT, for example, as much as it can do so many tasks, it is still operating under a limited context with limited data that has been fed into it. Now, moving on to a key concept that I want to share, I want to talk about the subsets of AI. We already talked about AI being the ability of the machine to imitate the human behavior, predicting the next likely work or then predict the next action. But now when we talk about machine learning, we're talking about a mix of algorithms and statistics. These algorithms are very effective, but usually require some feature engineering, some data cleaning. I'll talk more about it later, but everything related to AI is fed into data. It runs with data. Think of a car. It cannot run, it cannot be working if it doesn't have gas. Well, unless it's an electric vehicle. But the point is, AI cannot work if you don't have data. So with machine learning, there might be some pre-processing that has to go into place to get better results. The good thing about machine learning is that the models that you use are more interpretable, meaning that when you get the results, you can kind of link why the algorithm predicted the result that it gave. However, on the other side, we have deep learning, which works with neural networks and manage or can handle more complex data like images, audios, etc. However, it is less interpretable. So, for example, for government or financial institutions, sometimes for regulatory reasons, they need to explain what is happening behind the scenes. And deep learning models can work sometimes as black box, where you cannot see what is happening behind the scenes. The models are just predicting the next or the best outcome, the most appropriate outcome, but you don't know what is happening there, and hence you cannot explain that to your stakeholders. So I wanted to bring these subsets of AI to your attention because depending on the use case that you are working on, you might have to decide what models to use. And okay, we have talked about some of the stages, some of the subsets, but how can we identify that AI opportunity when we are at work? And as any other project that business analysts work on, we need to start by understanding what are our business goals and objectives. It doesn't matter that AI is the latest technology or that's the new kid in the block and that everything around AI sounds cool. We need to first identify what is the real need that's happening in our organization. And then we have to keep drilling down to identify what are the pain points that we have within our area. So say, for example, your business goal is to improve productivity, to improve revenue or increase revenue. Okay, so then let's start looking at the different areas within our company and what are the challenges that we are facing? What are the bottlenecks or the inefficiencies that we can help improve or mitigate or reduce? Once we identify one specific challenge, then we have to look at data. As I said, AI runs on data. And if we don't have data, well, we cannot even do anything AI related. So we need to ensure we have the data, that we have data available. How often we have it available? Is it weekly, monthly, yearly? Depending on that, we can have a better outcome or a worse outcome. We also have to look at the quality of the data. Do we have missing fields? Are we getting messy data from our stakeholders, our clients? Those topics, those decisions will impact how we define if our AI opportunity can move on in the pipeline. Once we assess that, yes, we do have the data, then we have to check also with our industry, like with the different industry, do some benchmarking and understand if that we are deciding to do has been implemented in other places, just to have best practices in place. But regardless of the decision of what we see in the industry, we also have to account by our employees' input and ensure that their insights are put into place. They are the ones who are using this, who are going to use the tools or the models that we build. They are the ones more familiar with the process. So we need to work directly with them to ensure that we get their knowledge. Once we identify the data is in place, that our employees or colleagues' input has been added, we start prioritizing use cases. And here we have to analyze the impact and feasibility, but also the alignment with the business goals. As I said, just because it's AI, it doesn't mean that we have to do it. Sometimes it might not work, sometimes it will. And for those cases where it does, we usually try to divide processes in a quadrant and take the quick wins to start to start proving that a new tool works. For this case, yes, we can focus on the quick wins, but one term that I recently read about is atomic use cases. We can have a quick win project, but is it small enough for us to prove something tangible, to prove a result? If not, it's better to break it down, because once we see a quick win project is not working, then leaders might feel demotivated to continue with AI. They might even think that AI is not something for them, that the company is not ready for AI. But maybe what happened is that the use case was not small enough to show that there is impact or that there can be some wins from it. So once you identify what are the use cases, identify what are the quick wins, and break them down so that it's very easy to deploy and to show some tangible results. And lastly, create your proof of concepts. Then assess the feasibility and value of AI use cases in a controlled environment where, as I said, you can show the value to your leaders and gain the buy-in from them. Now, to give you some ideas on where you can implement AI, there are different industries, like, as I said, anything that has data available can be a potential project for AI. But to give you some ideas, in the medicine space, doctors are using AI as assistants to read X-ray or CT scans. And most recently, a company, a startup based in Toronto, has developed an algorithm to predict Alzheimer. So predict some of the signs of Alzheimer, even 20 years before it can even be developed. So by looking at the iris of your eye, it can predict if some of the symptoms might be present in the patient. So great advancements right there. If you think of law, I don't know how many of you read the terms and conditions when you are installing a new app, but sometimes that can be cumbersome. It can be very painful to go through all the pages. Now imagine in the law space where people are reading thousands of documents. With tools like AI or natural language processing, you can summarize all this information and gain some insights that you can share with your stakeholders and help you make more insightful decisions. In media, we have seen lately a lot of news about fake news or deep fakes, some videos that don't tell the whole reality. So as it can help you create fake news, it can also help you create and build news. So here is our mission as users to be mindful of these capabilities so that we can differentiate what is true and what is not. I think nowadays it's going to be harder, but we also always have to check the source and ensure that whatever we are reading is the ground truth. In agriculture, we can work around prediction, ensuring that the crops are in good shape to grow, and that we can minimize the impact of different external agents that can impact our harvest. One of the projects I worked on last year was in the tomato space. So we were looking at the tomato leaves and predicting with the shape of the tomato leaf if there were any bugs that could impact the crop, and then decide what are the most useful chemicals depending on the disease of the tomato leaf. So a lot of applications right there. In other fields like the finance field, we have nowadays agents or chatbots that can help you make more insightful decisions in what ways you are going to invest your money. In the transportation space, well, not far away, we have Google Maps, and this is being replicated for companies that are related to logistics to help optimize routes and deliver the products on time and with the lowest cost. In construction, we can use object recognition just to ensure that all people who are working in the field have the right equipment. so that they can do their work very well and in a safe environment. In manufacturing, everything related to prediction and object detection of products can help optimize our processes, increase our revenue. So these are just some ideas. There are numerous ideas on how you can use AI, but this at least will get you started with that. Now, at the beginning, I was saying that we can see the relationship of AI and business analysts from 2 points. Now, let's move to the second stage, which is how to look at that relationship from an AI user perspective. How can we use those tools to boost our productivity? And here is the second phase, business analysts as AI users. As I was saying previously, one of our main roles is to translate those technical details to our business. So one thing that can help us with that is the tool ChatGPT. So through ChatGPT, we can interpret code. Not everyone is knowledgeable in coding or the different tools of scripts. So with ChatGPT, for example, we can understand what is happening behind the scenes. This can help us have more meaningful conversations with the developers, with the technical team, and then provide better recommendations to them on how to continue the project. That is one way how we can use AI for our advantage. Another way is to do exploratory data analysis. As I said, AI functions on data. So if we need like a quick overview or of a data set, or if we need to summarize some statistics or visualizations, we can have a quick understanding of these data sets with a couple of tools. For example, Tableau has incorporated AI capabilities in the system. And as I was mentioning, you can now have some explanation of the data that you have available so that you can increase your productivity. Remember that all the data that you're using, that you're inputting, is then used then for retraining, unless otherwise stated. So be very mindful of the information that you are putting out there. Another way on how we can use AI for our advantage is by building PowerPoint presentations. As business analysts, we are doing this all the time. So to save us some time, there are some tools like SlidesGo, SlidesAI.io, or Canva that allow you to create presentations by just writing down a couple of ideas. And then, of course, you can always refine them to your advantage and see how you can improve them so that you can communicate your message to your stakeholders. Another way on how you can use it is by doing sentiment analysis. For example, I was trying this tool yesterday. It's called Sentiment Analyzer, and I wrote these comments. I feel disappointed with today's demo. The features I saw today don't meet our business requirements. It shows that it has a negative confidence of 72.6%. So now imagine if we had to go through thousands or hundreds of surveys responses one by one, checking what is the sentiment of our stakeholders. With tools like these, it can save us all this time. It can help us determine the brand reputation, the results of our surveys, how to improve customer experience, how to research new product decisions, how to be aligned with what our customers or our stakeholders are looking for. So things like that will help us reduce our time and help us improve our productivity. And here you can see below a couple of tools that do the same. Another one is Lexalytics, ClientZen, and Awario. One of my favorite use cases where we can use AI for our advantage is through documentation. I've been in a lot of meetings where after the call, I have to send some minutes, some notes, some summary of what happened there for those who attended or for those who were not able to join. So tools like Jamie, Otter, Fireflies, Phantom, Avona work as independent tools, but also as plugins that can join your different video tools. Like, for example, Otter is one that I use sometimes with Zoom, and it allows you to summarize all the conversation that happened during the call. It helps you capture those important notes and summarize the insights so that you don't have to go through the whole video again. Now, if you were able to attend the call, of course, you can decide whether that summary is correct or not. So remember, you are the judge. You are the person who is deciding whether something is correct or not. And as much as I like all these tools around AI, it's important that we talk about other topics, and it's all the ethical implications that go around these tools. There is no doubt that one of the main ethical concerns that people have is bias and fairness. Because as I said, AI running data, and if my data set comes already with bias, well, my models are going to be biased. So say, for example, in the past, we've had a lot of people who are men in technology. So if my model is going to run in that data, of course, it's going to predict that the person who should be taking a job in tech should be a man, because that's the data that my models have seen. So there's a lot of bias and that can lead to discriminatory outcomes. Now, it's not as easy as looking for new data, because then we would have to rebuild all our history, but there must be some rail guards in place. There might be some controls, some assessments, some data quality, and some data cleaning that allow fair representation of all the different parties involved in the data set when you are building a model. So this is very important for you to consider when you are looking at the data that you are going to use for your different AI projects. Is it representing my customers? Is it representing all the population? Because decisions like these might alter the outcomes of our products. Another important ethical implication that we need to look at is the privacy. AI often relies on personal data, and if our data is not protected, then we might be in trouble. So it is very important that all our data sets are secure, that there's some privacy and security policies in place. And that's why we as business analysts have to work also with the cybersecurity analysts, cybersecurity teams to ensure that there's some data governance, that we can prevent that unauthorized access to this data set happen, because we need to take care of it to avoid privacy violations. Another ethical concern that I want to highlight is the transparency and explainability. As I said, some models are easier to explain. Some models are easier to show to our stakeholders why they predicted. So if some models are acting as complex black boxes, it's going to make it difficult to understand how they reach to those decisions. So again, depending on the use case that you are working, you need to be mindful of what model to choose. The next ethical concern is the manipulation piece and all these deepfakes that are happening. And when we see more of a spike on these use cases are during elections. And sadly, AI can be used to create all those convincing deepfakes and videos that can manipulate the content. So we as users have to be very mindful of that and look for the truth, look for that data source or that original content, and not only believe whatever we see on social media, because as much as it seems like it's credible, it might not be the case. So something to consider. And the last ethical concern that I want to highlight is the energy consumption. Many AI models, and especially deep learning models, require significant computational power. So the fact that we are training and running large models can consume a vast amount of energy. And of course, this contributes to carbon emissions. So here the ethical question is, how do we use these models without affecting our planet, our environment? And nowadays, some researchers are working on large language models that can be trained on less words and less data set, and that can still produce the same outcome. It's still a challenge, because the larger your data sets are, like the more data you put into this model, the better the outcome. But again, it's like a trade-off. So this is a new challenge for researchers, and there has been some improvement in this area, but still there's a lot of work to do. So yes, there are a lot of ethical implications. These are a few of them. Locally here in Canada, there's a regulatory framework. Well, it doesn't exist today, but there is a proposed Artificial Intelligence and Data Act. And the idea of this act is to set the foundation for responsible design, development, and deployment of all the AI systems that are impacting the lives of people who reside here in Canada. So although it's not ready yet, it's not approved yet, at least it's in the go, and at least we'll be able to have a proposal approved soon, hopefully. And the idea here, as I mentioned, is to first have all the businesses identify and address different risks that can happen because of their AI systems. The other point that we need to highlight from this act is that but the idea is that businesses are also required to assess the uses and limitations of their AI systems and make users understand them. As I said, some of the models might be hard to explain, but companies have to come out with a way to socialize with users and help them understand what is happening behind the scenes and why some decisions are being taken. And the last point that the act mentions is the deployment piece. Like, business will be required to put some mitigation strategies to ensure that the systems are monitored. So as I said, some of the data sets come with bias already, and there's nothing we can do about the data because that's how data comes to us. So what strategies can we put into place before we deploy those models so that it is fair for everyone? So here the idea is to have a flexible policy where safety obligations are tailored to every AI system, because the more risks are associated with an AI system, the more obligations should be. And if you think about it, when you buy, for example, a car seat for your kids, it has some regulations in place that allows you to release it to the market. You have to fulfill certain policies. You have to fulfill or meet certain requirements. The same should happen with an AI product. It shouldn't be different. Before you launch an AI product, there should exist a framework, even an international framework, I dare to say, that allow us to ensure that there is fairness, that there is ethic implied into it. Unfortunately, there's not one yet, at least not in Canada. But while we are waiting for it to come, I would like to recap part of this presentation by showing you a couple of ideas on how we can keep navigating this AI journey. So first of all, I would like you to keep attending all IIBA events. IIBA Nova Scotia chapter, for example, has a couple of events coming up. I saw at the beginning that one of the upcoming events is around data. Remember, just because it says AI, it doesn't mean that's all. Everything related to data will help you in this journey. Once you attend these events, which you are doing today, which is great, you can keep taking introductory courses that help you set the foundations. AI for Everyone is a great place to start. I'm going to share these slides with Olga so that they can share them with you, and you can access these different links. They are linked there. EDX has also a course partnered with Google AI for Anyone. It's also a 4 weeks course, self-paced and very easy to understand. Now, if you already have a foundational base, if you have some concepts already in place, I invite you to take some more specialized courses. Again, I highly advise deeplearning.ai. They have courses from basic to more advanced topics. And I'm highlighting here 2 of my favorite ones, the ChatGPT Prompt Engineering for Developers and LangChain. But if you are more interested into the business side, I haven't seen many at Deep Learning. In fact, I've just seen one related to the environmental space, but LinkedIn Learning is a great place for you to find AI courses related to business or that are more business oriented. another recommendation that I want to give you today is to continue your journey by gaining experience with competition or volunteering projects. The theory sounds good and you can even pass a test, but until you go and actually build a project by yourself, all the questions that you might have in mind won't come up. So I invite you to participate of competitions. Kaggle has a lot of competitions in place. There's even prizes. And one of the advantages of Kaggle is that they also have data sets for you to participate. So if you're not interested in the competition or the money, you can just practice at your own pace with these data sets. Zindi is another great place to look for competitions. You can even filter by level of difficulty or by the type or subset of AI that you're trying to practice or learn. Also, I highly invite you to participate on some volunteering opportunities to put all what you have learned in practice. One website that I really like a lot, it's called Catch a Fire. Over there, you can filter down by the type of project that you want to work on. I know this is AI related, but really you can search by anything, by design, business, human resources, data and analytics, etc. And of course, IIBA also has a lot of volunteer opportunities. So you can go to the website and with your membership, you can participate of all the different opportunities around the world. One of the key things to keep navigating this AI journey that is going very fast is by following influencers like Andrew and Ali K. Miller, Cassie Kozirkov, and follow the news. Okay, so here is a typo. Some of the news that I highly recommend you or newsletter are AI Tool Report, Tech Brew, The Automated, and AI News. These are newsletters that bring you all the information that you need to stay up to date with the relevant information about AI. AI is going like very fast, technology advancing at such a fast pace, so it's important that we are up to date with this information. And lastly, I invite you to build or join a community. So there are different communities like Learn Machine Learning in Reddit or in Slack. We have All Tech is Human, Women in AI, Google Developer Groups, all the IIBA chapters. If you don't find a community where you feel welcome, then build your own community. And that's why I told you at the beginning to share your LinkedIn profiles, because it's very likely that there's another person like you that is trying to build their own community. So why don't you join efforts and start putting together like a book club around AI books? Why not a book club around news around AI? Something like that will help you keep motivated to keep navigating this AI journey. And if you don't find a person with whom you can build a community, you can connect with me and I'll help you connect with someone else so that together we can build a community. Because yeah, technology is helping us connect and helping us educate, but it's really those connections, those human interactions, which will help us bring all our ideas to place. And the idea here is to create a future where artificial intelligence boosts our human power and not replace it. So I hope this has been very clear to you today, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any clarification, any doubt that you have in the few minutes that we have left.
Can we ask questions?
Awesome. Yeah, hi Ted. Yeah, you get to ask your question. Thank you so much. Please let's appreciate Maria. You can use the reaction button. Thank you so much, Maria. That was an awesome presentation. Yeah, please. This is time for question and answer. Maria, are you ready to take questions?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so if you are shy, you don't want to unmute your mic, you can drop it in the chat. But if you are okay with also unmuting your mic and asking you the question, please feel free. So Tej, I'll let you start. I have some questions in the chat I'm going to read out too.
Thank you. Maria, actually the core of sorry about that. The core of the tools, especially generative AI, do the tools have requirement gathering or documentation things to them, like observation techniques for eliciting requirements, like eliciting requirements that are through workshops or running an automatic workshop, something like that? Because I absolutely loved your presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you everybody. And so basically, some of the tools that you mentioned were extremely powerful tools. So we love that. And what type of generative AI tools help with like requirement gathering techniques? Requirement gathering techniques.
Okay, great question. Thank you, Tej. One of the tools that is most obvious is ChatGPT, because you can interact with it from a conversation perspective. So you can use prompts to help you define a plan on how to elicit those requirements in terms of what questions can I ask, what questions I can use in my workshop. Another one can be around the presentation part, because of course you might need PowerPoint presentation. So that's another one of the ones that I mentioned. So depending on what's your goal, like what do you need for a workshop? You need to ask questions. You need a plan, first of all. So ChatGPT can help you with that. The plan is already in the back box. You can see what are the steps for it. But if you want something quick, you can refer to ChatGPT for that. Help you brainstorm a couple of questions. Remember to not disclose personal information or private information from your company there. And you are the business analyst. You are the one who knows the business and the process. So always validate whatever outcome it gives you. And in terms of presentations or PowerPoints, if you need any, well, you can use the ones that I mentioned. If you're having the conversation or the workshop via Zoom, via Teams, you can use other generative tools that help you summarize the conversation that happened. So depending again on the task, there might be different tools.
Documentation of requirements that are for example core business methodology, like business methods that are business methods that are like, for example, domain related. For example, I work for TD Bank. I actually work with TD Bank, and in TD Bank, we're consumer lending, which is basically like hi, my demo didn't work from last night, and I saw that. That was absolutely wonderful. And my demo didn't work last night. Can you suggest something else? So those tools were super amazing. And so how do you come up with a mortgage rate calculate projection, financial projection that you then include in the requirement document, the business requirement document, or your business model canvas, for example?
Yeah, so for example, at TD, like in any other organization, we cannot always use all these tools, right? So for example, with Microsoft Teams, there is a way that you can get the script of your conversation, of your call. And then we as in TD have access to Python. So here we would have to run like a small script or request permission to your technology department to access these tools. But yeah, it depends on the company. Some companies are more restricted than others.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks, Tej, for your question.
Thank you.
Let's take, do you have another question, Tej? I would say you should hold on or put it in the chat so we can get around to other people, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes,
You're
not
welcome.
at all. No, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. So a question here from Robert. He says, in my experience, effective use of AI places a heavy dependence on data quality. So it is absolutely critical that your AI strategy is integrated with your organization's data management operating model.
Yes.
Question for Maria now. Do you have any examples of how this can be done, and whose responsibility it would be within the organization?
Yes, and that's a great question because nowadays everyone is talking about an AI strategy, but everyone forgot about data strategy. And before we even build an AI strategy, we need to look at our data strategy. Is there one in place? If not, that's the first step. That's where we need to start. Now, who is responsible? It depends on your organization because every org chart might be different. Usually it lands on the data and analytics team, but if there's not one, again, it depends on the company and how it is structured. And the data strategy, remember, shouldn't tell us how we have access to the data, how is our data stored, what is our policy, what is our governance. All those little pieces need to be into place first before we can actually start an AI strategy. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Robert, if you can indicate your question was answered. Thank you for your response. Another question we have here is, based on the tools you recommended, how do you manage the privacy of enterprise use cases or data in relation to the use of public cloud services on the internet?
Yep, as I said, you shouldn't disclose personal information or sensitive data. Think of these tools as everyone can see whatever you're sharing. So be very mindful of what you're sharing with Ed. Now, there are some tools where you pay for them. When you pay for them, the privacy terms change a little bit. But again, you would have to check from tool to tool because it varies. And if you want to use it for your personal productivity without disclosing information, well, you can be general. Instead of saying, please provide me some ideas for a workshop for a TD Bank, maybe you can rephrase it and talk about financial institution or talk about the process or the name of the team, just something general that can be used by any person, something that if it for any reason goes publicly, it doesn't impact your reputation or the reputation or the brand of the company you work for.
Thank you so much. I think Robert is making a comment here. Robert, if you would unmute, I would appreciate it so that I might read out this comment but not really communicate your idea. I'd appreciate if you can come on the come online and actually read out your post about, I would argue, the main responsibility of AI. Robert, are you willing to do that? While I go to another question. Okay. So Sema here is asking, can you provide some sample GPT prompts which can be used by bees? Do you have?
I don't have a list, to be honest, because it varies or depends on your use case and varies from problem. One thing that I can tell you, Sima, is that there is one of the, let me check here, of the ones that I share here, one of the newsletter. It's called The Automated. The Automated has more than 100 prompts ready for you to use. Now, if you find them, if you don't find them, you can always think when you are using a prompt is to provide a detailed step-by-step instruction. So think of ChatGPT as your assistant. You can tell them, build me a report, but I can also tell my assistant, build a 3-page report where the first page focuses on financial information, the second in logistics. So the more detailed you are, the better the outcome that you will get. And if you can even provide an example of the outcome that you want to get, well, the result would be even more accurate. But yes, the Automated has more than 100 prompts, and I'm happy to share that here. Just give me 1 second while I find it very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
That would be great if
Sure.
you can share it.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's a question here I skipped earlier. I just saw it. While Maria is trying to get the link, so I would read for her here. Maria, let me know when I can go ahead to.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay. in your opinion, what role will the BA play in the implementation of AI projects?
That's a great question. And I would say it's the same as in any other project. Like, our activities are not going to change. We are still going to be meeting with the stakeholders. We are still going to look at different documentation, understanding what is the context, having business understanding, facilitating requirement solicitation, defining the vision or the future state, creating that gap analysis. So really, I meant the main responsibility of AI. Yeah, so really it's the same role. What is going to change is the technology that we are using, the different concepts that we are going to be interacting with. So think, for example, today you're working with a CRM tool, but then tomorrow you are working with another tool, and then now you're going to work with AI. So it's the same process, same task. You are going to still enable change. It's just that the concepts are going to be different.
Thank you so much. And now I think I have more understanding. So Robert was actually responding to that question, and he says, I would argue that the main responsibility of the BA is, 1, to understand the problem, 2, to communicate the understanding and gain the agreement of the stakeholders, 3, to determine the criteria of a successful solution, 4, to generate requirements that satisfies those criteria.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And
Thank
somebody
you for sharing that.
asks here, yeah, Maria is sharing the link to the post. So Maria, somebody's asking for what tool did you use to make your presentation, because they feel it's so beautiful. What is it, Canva? Is it the Slido? I know you mentioned a couple of them.
Yeah, but no, I use PowerPoint. I'm a little bit more traditional there. The thing with these tools is that because they are very quick, sometimes they can be prescriptive, right? And I really like to be very tailored to each of my presentations. So yes, I use PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question here. It says, so you recommended some courses that might be free online. Do you also have a recommendation of books one can read for those that like reading?
Yes,
books
AI
about artificial intelligence.
Oops, sorry to cut you. Okay, but yes, AI Superpowers is my go-to book for anyone who wants to start in the world of AI. And let me see. AI Superpowers. Let's see if I can link it here, and check with your library. So if you can have access to it through your library, that would be even better. So you don't have to buy anything. I haven't bought it because I got it from the library.
Oh, okay.
But this is a great one to get started. And no, unfortunately, it's not in the IIBA library, but you can send an email to IIBA and recommend it. I'm sure they'll be happy to add it to there. I cannot make any promises, but you never know. So if a lot of people send the same email, maybe they'll get it. Another one, it's called, and that one has, okay, what I like about this book is that it combines the concepts about AI from a non-technical perspective. But another one that I like is 100-page machine learning. Yes, this one. The 100 pages machine learning book is a great book for you to get all the key concepts around AI. So another one to check there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other questions for Maria? Please, let's show some love in the chat with the reactions. Maria, this has been awesome. We thank you. I know how much time it takes to put together presentations. So thank you so much for your time, and thanks for enlightening us today. I've learned a lot. I don't know about others, but from the questions I see in the chat, I know people here have learned. So thank you.